SDRs and BDRs. What's next in your career? I'm Sarah Brazier, Senior SDR at Gong, and today in Life After SDR, we're going to be talking to an individual who loved sales dev so much, he decided to lead a team. He's going to be talking with us about the moves he made after sales dev, what it's really like being a people manager, and how he coaches hundreds of SDRs on building their dream career. Gong's very own Senior Director of Inside Sales, Eugenio Mourino Balsa. Eugenio, thank you so much for being here. For those of you watching at home, I am standing on a box because I am short and Eugenio is tall. Very tall. So let's just jump right into it. How did you end up in sales development?
Yeah, so I was living in Ireland at the time, and I had a contract with a company that went bankrupt. So kind of desperation move, I started looking for jobs really quick. I was like, oh, I need a job. This company called BMC Software reached back and said, well, we have SDR jobs.
How long were you in SDR before you made a career move?
Probably a year and change. Yeah.
And then what did you become after you were an SDR?
I did account management work for a little bit, and then I went to become an account executive soon after.
So you kind of dabbled in basically customer success.
Oh yeah.
Then you moved into an account executive role, and then somehow you end up in people management. What was that path?
That was interesting. That was an opportunity that was provided to me by AdRoll at the time when I moved to the US.
So, okay, you're an SDR. You're like, this is a step back in my career, but it's going to open a lot of doors for me. What were the steps that you took to become an account manager and then move into an AE role?
Right. So from the SDR to account manager was something that was offered to me, and I took it. I was doing like the SDR role for a while successfully. And then movement's life is what I always say, right? So I moved into an account manager role, was great. It wasn't my thing, candidly speaking, and I prefer to like sell from the get-go. It's much better.
Yeah, so you mentioned that like customer success isn't your thing because you want to sell from the get-go.
Yeah.
What kind of qualities were you recognizing in yourself as you are making career decisions, building the career you want to have?
Yeah, first of all is like one of them that is pretty close to like a good skill fit, and to be a very good AE, you need to really enjoy prospecting, and I do like prospecting, right? And the other one to me is like a lot of discipline around what you do. As an AE, like you build your own pipeline, you might have an SDR or not, but you can't really fully rely on your SDR to do your job. So if you don't enjoy prospecting, if you don't enjoy like getting said no like 50,000 times, then probably the AE role is like not a good choice, right?
Okay, so you moved from then an AE role into people management.
Yeah.
So what kind of qualities were you recognizing in yourself? What did you realize about yourself that said, oh, actually, like I really like closing, but I want to be helping other people close? Because you've like managed both AEs and SDRs and a myriad of things.
Yeah, yeah. I think that a lot of that is my will to provide people coaching in an environment where they can grow, right? So throughout your career, you experience great leaders and you experience managers. And that's like something that has definitely defined me a lot, particularly the leaders I've worked with in the past. And that is something that kind of inspired me to move on and like take a management role and a more hands-on approach to people development.
When an SDR is interviewing for a position, or an individual is interviewing for an SDR position, it sounds to me like it's pretty critical that the manager that you work with needs to also be, they need to be a people leader in the true form of it, because they need to take your career in mind.
Yeah.
How do you figure out like the good apples from the bad when you're in an SDR's shoes and trying to find that person who's going to mentor you into whatever it is your role is going to be? Yeah,
it's not so much mentoring, but guiding you right throughout the process and thinking about you and seeing around the corner for the SDR that they have or that they are responsible for, right? Or the AE or whatever the function that the person is doing. It's kind of twofold. On the one hand is how SDRs choose the companies that they go into. So choosing a reputable company that has long-standing trajectory of promoting people and coaching folks and have a very good development path built in, that's number one, right? And asking those questions during interviews is very important. And then the other part is taking self-development on your own hands. So if you're working with a manager and you're seeing that that manager is open to your development because you've already chosen the right company and step one, then lean on that person to figure out what's next. Don't try to figure it out all by yourself. Just lean on that person and their experience to move forward.
So let's go to the interview part. What are the critical questions that an SDR must ask when they are interviewing at a company?
Yeah, I think that one of the key questions that a lot of SDRs ask and they kind of fail at is figuring out what does career trajectory look like in here, right? A company that has a defined path will typically give you a defined answer or set expectations correctly with the person. And companies that are not really in that realm are gonna give you a non-committal answer to it. And that to me is like a good sniff test of figuring it out, right?
Okay, so I think we're about done. Last thing is, is there any last minute advice you want to give to any SDR who's made it to the end of this video? What would you tell them as they're starting out their career?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them something that my very good friend of mine told me many years ago over lunch, and it is that you are as good as your manager.
So go back, rewatch the first part of this video, and really listen to the questions that you need to ask when you're picking the company and the manager you want to work for. I think that's the takeaway.
Thanks.
Thank you, Eugenio.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this video? We're thinking about interviewing more people managers. If you think we should, let us know in the comments below. And be sure to follow Gong on LinkedIn so you can catch next week's video. I'm Sarah Brazier, and remember, when in doubt, hit the phones.